Hello everyone, Grand Rising. Welcome today, this beautiful Tuesday, here with Matt Thomson at the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers. And Tuesday has become my favorite day of the week because it's the day that I get to go have yoga with Sarah and then breathwork with Matt. It's this whole, I don't know if you did that on purpose, but it was like the heavens just agreed that Sandy is a much more pleasant human to be around when I take this time for self-care, and this is what we're encouraging here at the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit officially, and we use the proceeds from our donations to create programming like this. This both happens online and live at 63 Washington Street here in Weymouth, Massachusetts. We're located just like 17 miles south of Boston, so you city folk, if you're looking for something different to do, or if you're ever on your way down to Cape Cod, I always say down Route 3, come see me. It's a good stop for a pee. I have been saying this so many times now. I'm starting to turn it into like a rhyme, because I was out in Springfield and like Holyoke the other day, and people are like, where the heck is Rockland? Where the heck is Weymouth? So I instantly, I'm like, have you been to Cape Cod? Well, it's a good halfway point from out there to stop. And of course, also have a smoke. That's the other benefit of membership here, is that we do have a lounge where you can safely consume your sacrament. Because I know a lot of apartment buildings these days, or if you're on, subsidized housing, they don't allow, cannabis smoke to occur in their facilities or in their homes. So, a lot of people are looking for a safe space to come, and some people also are looking for connection, right, Matt? I mean, it's been such a crazy couple of years, and, gratefulness has been a theme amongst all of our blogs, and, everything that's coming up with, us right now this time of year is often causing a lot of us to isolate, right? This has been another theme, and, by coming together in these circles, we kind of reconnect with the spirit again, and the divine, and realizing that healing does truly happen in community. I mean, it's rarely for me ever happened in a bubble. I know that. You need your people.
I think too, as we shift in our healing and transforming and all that fun stuff, we can do it alone, but it's much harder, and to have people who can relate to you, and to have, I think, also that safe space. And this is such a safe space here, and everyone that comes here in person is safe, and they all understand that. And I think that's so important too when we're expressing anything that's coming from within. And sometimes there's that discomfort, but sometimes too, as we're doing breath work, as you're doing maybe yoga, doing different forms, or engaging with different forms of healing, sometimes this type of work doesn't always require the individual to have to speak, especially with breath work. Like, you can kind of keep it to yourself, and if you want to open up, you may. But then when you are ready to have that community that's ready to receive it, because it's hard getting the truth out and being authentic. And I think sometimes we try to be authentic, but it doesn't really work.
Well, I think when
and
you
so
practice,
I think that's where the community, that's what I mean. Like, the community is so important that we stay together, especially through these times, and not isolate.
Right, and what I was going to say, like, when you practice the breath work in the yoga, you don't necessarily know when something is going to kind of pop open or unearth, or you're going to be tapped into a memory or a trauma because something was unblocked, or something was flowed through you, so I think that's it too, like, because it can happen very unexpectedly. I had done yoga for like 10 years, and then after I had children, I did a hip opening intensive workshop where I just got to my car, and I uncontrollably was sobbing and broke down and cried, and it was just as if all that, all the stress that had been trapped in my hips my entire life came out in one session. And like, I know we talk about, like, the birth trauma and the healing of that. I mean, that's something that, again, we all have a story, we all have, and then sometimes we block out some of that story, and these practices can really bring back memories. And so I do think having a community to reach out to when and if, you experience some of these unearthings, because it is like a bit of an excavation, right?
It is, and actually even bringing up that inner child work, or rebirthing. Actually, there's a small group of us, or that I was asked to maybe see if we could start like a little class program on that. So it's something we're going to have to talk about. But it seems like there's several people interested in exploring inner child work. So
Yeah, and that's
might go
another
down that a little
benefit
bit, yeah.
of membership is so on the on Friday nights, you know, it's
Yeah.
always been like a closed group. But I think what I'm going to ask the group permission to
Yeah.
do is to bring the Zoom in, so it would not be
Yeah.
televised, it would not be streaming live on YouTube. You know, if you're a member and you could benefit from these healing kind of circles where you can just kind of hear other people's questions about healing modalities,
Right.
like even that, just to open your mind, like you wouldn't even have to speak, you could just listen, you know, in. I would be more than happy if anybody ever wanted to get that, you know, access, just to contact us. Like sign up for our newsletter at PCSAM.org. That is the best way to find out about these programs and services that we are still, you know, very much in
Right.
the developmental stages of, which is also very exciting because now we'll be able to really further our mission with our 501c3. So
Yeah.
we're going to have lots to announce in 2023.
A lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah. So this class that we do here on Tuesdays, again, is going to just remain free for the community. It's an offering. It's what we consider part of our service to the community. So this is something that I, you know, greatly look forward to, and I hope really catches on and helps people as we try to get through this winter. You know, here in New England, sans vitamin D. So when we get into the breath work today, I'm going to get off camera. I'm going to also just shut the lights down because I don't
Yeah.
think people really need to see
No.
you under fluorescent lights to breathe. So just for my own ease, if these lights
That
are
works.
crazy.
Perfect.
Awesome. So what are we going to do today, Matt?
So today's, I forgot what I called it, but it had something to do with finding the gifts within our moments each day. And so we're just going to talk about we're going to focus on dropping into the moment, being more present with our moment, and we'll just talk a little bit about that because I feel like it feeds off of what we did last week. Because sometimes there's gifts right in front of us, but we don't see them. And because maybe we're just so trapped, you know, in that little space that we talked about last week when our mind is so busy with an event or a person or something, and it traps us in that little room a little bit. And so we're just going to practice today, like when we're coming out of that room and stepping out, like staying more true to the moment. And we'll just talk about life a little bit through the breathing today. And we'll talk a little bit about like looking for the gifts that are being offered to us, if it's people or a message that's being sent to us or whatever. Because then we're more open to receive. And if we're trapped, we're not so open to receive. Because we're so caught up in something that just doesn't matter right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and the best, I think, most inspirational ideas usually finally come when you stop thinking. It's kind of like you always find what
Yeah.
you're missing when you stop looking for it, right? It just turns up. It's like if you don't open yourself and allow yourself to be in the flow, those genius creations are less likely to happen, I guess.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you brought up winter. I'll talk a little bit about that as well too, because a lot of us struggle sometimes with getting outside. And actually, for me, I think the winter, especially when we have snow, is one of my favorite times to be out in the woods. Because when we're out there in the spring or say summer or fall, there's a lot of life going on. But with winter, there's like a certain silence that the other three seasons don't offer. And there's a certain beauty for myself that it really helps me to drop really into the present, because it's so quiet in the forest. There's no bugs, there's nothing bothering you. Just dress warm.
I always love it when you can actually
Yeah.
hear the snowflakes
Yeah.
hitting the trees.
Right.
Like that's how you know it's really quiet.
Quiet,
Yeah, when
yeah.
you can the individual flakes hit. Yeah.
Or even just sitting out there, and if it's windy and just hearing the trees crack.
They almost
And, you know,
speak
it's almost-
to each other. They
yeah.
creak like yeah.
Exactly. And I love, and you don't always get that during the rest of the year. So
We should do a community little snowy hike when we know
I
that
think
there's a
so.
storm coming.
I think that's beautiful.
I'm still a kid who likes to catch the snowflakes on my tongue.
Absolutely.
That is the fun part. I mean, again, we got to try
Yeah.
to make it fun, right? Like Matt, who owns this building, who is the proprietor of Open Doors, yesterday, he's like, I don't care about daylight savings? Why would that bother me? He's like, doesn't bother the trees, doesn't bother the bees.
Yeah.
He's like, why would it bother me? You just have to, stay in that flow
Yeah.
and kind of have that mindset like it is what it is, and then look for the beauty in each of the phases and stages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a cutie. I highly recommend that yoga class. He always just makes us giggle, and
I know, I need to get back.
he's either singing or you don't feel so bad about how hard he works you. I mean, it was a power
He is
yoga
working
class
when he's
yesterday.
up there. He's
We were
all
doing
over
like the 10
place.
push-ups in the middle
Yeah.
of this. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you were?
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, he gets a little bit military about it. I kind of like it, though. I think we all like it. That's why we go, right?
Yeah.
It's that Monday morning, get this week started right. It makes the other classes seem easy
Yeah.
if you start out the week with the hard class,
Absolutely.
Although, yeah, so talk a little bit about what we experienced on Sunday, because we do want to, let folks know that we have these classes that are open to the public. It's usually a suggested donation. We're never going to turn anybody away if you cannot afford it. But those are like longer classes. What we're doing here is kind of what Sandy has time for, what most kind of people I think really have time for during the day.
Right.
Which is an awesome reset. But the classes that Matt's been offering in the evenings are much more of like an intensive. And I find that once I'm in that flow, when you get us in there and we're in that 35, 40 minute and you're just telling us to keep going and keep pushing through, you do reach like a different state of, channeling, relaxation, whatever you want to call it, visions. I think we all had a pretty crazy experience, and I was even doing it from Zoom, not even in the circle. But my heart had been feeling so like broken, or the potential of how hard it could have broken. And I sat so quickly with this like fear, and then so quickly was able to shift back to gratitude and just planet Earth, or planet universe, planet cosmos, planet energy, or whatever it was. But it was just such an amazing like yin and yang, and just was a true reminder of like that fight or flight, and like how quickly it takes over our ability to think and move and make a rational decision. And it's almost good to have that reminder every now and then, so then you have the contrast, but yeah, it was pretty profound. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, so, this breath cast is probably a better word for it than podcast, but, is like a teaser for breath work, right? And so, like what you said, when I do like a full-blown breath work session like we did this Sunday, it's like roughly 2 hours at least. And, it's maybe a little bit over an hour of breathing and then some conversation and sharing and stuff like that. Some talking beforehand. But when there's more time to dive into the breath and dive into the energies, like you stated, we have that ability to go a little bit deeper into any traumas, any energies that maybe don't serve you anymore. And from there, the breath work, when I piece these together, they're going to be designed in such a way to help partially sit in that discomfort and really develop a relationship with it. And then secondly, from there, to also shift that energy out so that it's not a part of us, and since it's not serving us, and then to replace and replenish that energy with something new and new tactics and ways of going about our walking life, which we do cover here as well too. If you go back and review these or take notes afterwards of something that works for you, or to do the free writing, which we sometimes do, that's going to always help. But yeah, I think the longer sessions go deeper and really dig into the transformational healing that can occur from that. So,
I agree.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah, so that's why, we're so lucky again to have you,
Yeah.
Matt, because again, I didn't really even know what breath work was a
Yeah, so
year
even
and a half
on-
ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so on the Friday night, December 16th, I'll be doing like a full-blown breath work here with the Friday night group. And then I'll be putting another one together probably before that. So, and a little bit more organized. This one, I had just finished putting it together, a breathwork piece, and that's what I used on this Sunday. But I think I'm into that creative mode again. I think I've been set free from my demons that I had to work on a little bit because I was struggling there for a little while. But because we all struggle, it's not, I'm not void of it. I'm still human, so.
That's right. We're all just human, having this human experience.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So, but I felt good actually after Sunday. I felt like the combination of the last 2 weeks and just like, okay.
Well, I think it's also the changing of the seasons. It's a time that people really need this shift, more than ever. And like the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, I don't mean it to say it like that. I mean, but the upheaval in all these countries, it's very exciting. Women are standing up for themselves all over the world. It's a very, volcanoes are erupting, earthquakes always follow. You know what I mean? Like it's just the whole, there's been more even just catatonic like shifts in the earth itself. Like the actual earth is like waking up. So as the earth is waking up and shifting, we're doing the exact same thing. We're reflecting that. And so I choose the light. I choose to tune out a lot of the, the negativity and really just actually remain quite positive that this is still probably the best time to be alive. And that there is hope, that there is the potential for change. Potential is like going to be the word of 2023 for me. Because we have so much potential, and, even sitting in these circles and being still and putting out our positive intentions and peaceful intentions is how we're going to change the world, one breath at a time.
I think what you just brought up there is like so important. It's like, like I barely know what's going on. Like you bring up, like I'm like, where was there a volcano? Like I'm just like, so I haven't had television in so many years. But I think like too, like it's more than potential. Like we can definitely change it. Like it's not just a potential, we can do it.
Right.
And I think like when you go back and hear, probably something I talk about quite a bit in most of these is like, how do we talk to ourselves? Mm-hmm. And what you always say, like how powerful, what's the statement you say? Like our words
have the power to cast spells.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's so true. Mm-hmm. And so that's what changes that from being a potential to becoming a fact.
It's true.
Because the more we fall into the moment, which we're doing in a moment, and then we start changing our words and how we speak to ourselves, and start really deleting. For myself, the more I've been able to delete the negativity, and sometimes I just have to keep repeating myself, like I come from the heart, I come from the heart, or sometimes even during the breath work you hear me be repetitive, and that's why, because sometimes with our brain as it gets busy, and we maybe start going negative or allowing a trigger to react or whatever, sometimes we need like that mantra. Just state it maybe 20 or 30 times in a row and just kind of breathe into it. And then as we start shifting our reality through our words, then, we create that new world. And then whatever's happening is happening for a reason, and we have that understanding.
Right.
That it's, especially from Mother Nature, like Earth is, I think, definitely sending a message that we need to change. We need to stop this destruction and these habits that we're have fallen into. And,
right.
There is a positive side to even something like a volcano, which is that Hawaii is getting a little bit bigger, which is kind
yeah, true that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of the shift.
It's been 60 in November in New England.
I mean, that's part of the shift. The planet's always changing and shifting. So, and we just have more awareness today of what's going on around the world because of TV or the internet and stuff like that. So, always take it with a grain of salt. And we are where we're supposed to meant to be, and events that occur naturally are occurring for a reason. And sometimes it may have some difficulty that comes with it.
Oh, suffering is inevitable.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, all we are going to truly leave is our legacy, right? So what is that legacy going to be? Are we going to help change things? Are we going to be part of the solution, part of the problem? Are we always going to be part of both? I think we're always inevitably part of both, but we can do our best.
I think like staying in the moment and stuff like, and not this
worrying and
here's like
projecting too many negative
yeah. So worrying and projecting, or living in the past is not going to be staying in the moment. But another thing that came up for me this week, actually, and last week, is going a little bit deeper than that and almost setting an intention for myself, because the way I speak to someone like you or anyone, are my words healing words? Do I have a good intention with every word that's being spoken? Or am I even triggering the person? Or am I saying stuff that just is BS? Or maybe not BS, but maybe it could be a belief that I have that maybe the other person doesn't have, right? So are my words always correct for everyone that I'm speaking to? I don't know how to say this, but I just find it like more important, because I think sometimes if we're not careful with our words, or if we're around people we don't like, or if we just want to preach something and let it out, like, is it really serving that individual?
Well, I think when we did that
And
class with Megan, that was something that we touched upon, was kind of asking spirit, which was like, where do you want me to be? Who do you want me to talk to, and what do you want me to say? To be my highest and best self, to be intentional with my words. I think that that's hugely important, because that's even goes into like saying yes and saying no. Like, where are you going to put your time and your energy? Because, you know, what is the exchange? What is the, you know, what is the gain for everybody, you know, in the room? And I mean, at this point, I think that is the one thing the pandemic kind of showed us, is like, we were probably a lot of us putting a lot of our time and energy into things that didn't actually truly matter. You know, and that's all part of the same exact shift that we're talking about. You know, I'm like, you know, I've been so into like this like whole cannabis business, and I just had this realization. I'm like, we have grow tents. We should be growing food. Because you can't trust the water. You can't trust the soil. You really aren't sure where anything really comes from anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really, priorities are starting to set in. And what does happen if, you know, infrastructure starts to fall apart, or, you know, things start to happen, it's like, who actually has the skills to pay the bills? I was just realizing I'm going to make sure that my kids know how to read a map before I let them get an iPhone. We're going to be like, I'm going to Mary Cafe, and I am shutting my phone off, and you guys are going to take this map, and you're going to tell me when to take a right and when to take a left. And until you can get me from here to our bug out spot in Maine, you can't get a car, you can't get an iPhone, can't get any of that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we got to go back to basics, you know, like, just give the kid a compass. Like, how many days till we get there?
Exactly. I think it's so beautiful, because our words, I think our conversation is just one of the hardest things to do.
It's change.
It's change. So. But yeah, I think maybe today's half podcast, half broadcast. So
that's good. We got shit to talk about, Matt. I don't get to see you enough,
you know? No, and hopefully this resonates with those out there listening. And so with that being said, you know, let's maybe try and come more from the heart, come more from the moment that is occurring right now. And for every moment that, as you move through this day today. So why doesn't everyone just go ahead and find like a comfortable position?
Lights out.
And just breathe in any manner that you see fit. And just drop into your breath. You know, just release everything from the conversation we just had. Release anything that's happened or that's on your mind. And just use the sound to help drop you into self, and just to take you away from whatever may be on your mind today. And as we begin with the breath, let's just track the flow of air. Track it to the point of maybe a brief pause before the exhale. Track your air, you know, where does that stop in your body? Feel the road that it's traveling within you as the air comes in. Maybe take a quick pause before you exhale. And really feel it traveling out. And how does it travel in transition from the exhale into the inhale? I'm sorry, well, both ways. And exhale into the inhale and inhale into the exhale. Just really fall into tracking your breath. Allowing yourself to drop into this moment with your breath. Always coming back to the breath. Always come back to the breath. Staying with that breath. And we're just tracking it today. We're just tracking it to stay in the moment and really bring our awareness to the moment of this breath right now. If you're sitting up, I'm going to invite you just to tilt the head up and back a little bit and really come up and open up that heart center a little bit. And even if you're laying down, to try and come up with the head a little bit and open up that chest cavity a little bit and create a little bit more openness through the heart chakra. And so staying true to the moment. So if a thought pattern comes up that's going to bring us into one of those locked rooms and keep us trapped there for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, a day, a week. You know, each situation has a different amount of time where it might stay with us longer than we want. So when those thoughts come up and we have that awareness of it, go right to this breath right now. Track your breath, tracking the breath. And when we can start to track the breath, it can help us to fall more into this moment right now. And even like I've said this so many times, like as we change our situations within the day, to also apologize for that, I forgot to turn my phone off. But just take that vibration and let it enter you. Just let the vibration go into the moment. It's almost like, you know, just even the other sounds that may be around you. If you're changing your situation and say you're just getting ready for a drive, you know, fall into the moment of driving. Fall into tracking your breath before you begin. And set that intention to enjoy the drive. That will lower the risk of an accident or anything when we just find joy in every moment that we're doing. And we can begin each moment with 1 or 2 breaths or a minute, whatever you need, and just fall into tracking and bringing our awareness to what is the moment, what are we doing in this moment, and just engage with the moment fully. If it's heavy traffic, engage with it, just relax, fall into the breath while you're driving for a moment. As you continue to track your breath, and just allow for it to, the energy within you to become balanced as we track. So so we don't go too high or too low. You know, if it's a flight or fight situation, the breath will help us bring us back to balance. If anxiety, depression is coming up within our thoughts, we can also bring that right back to the breath. Track the breath. You don't have to sit with something that does not serve you. We can recognize that it's always going to come up. It comes up for all of us. So I'm going to invite you for a moment to either bring yourself into a recent event or something that may be common for you that brings you out of the moment, something that I'm just going to invite you to just bring your thoughts to something that brings you to a trapped room. If it's somewhat a trigger, if it's driving, if it's an event from the past that we can't let go of, or a worry about the future, just bring something up within you. Feel the discomfort for a moment, and then bring it right to tracking the breath. And just fall into that and let it go and bring it into the breath. And with the breath, if you felt like a little anxiety pop up or the heart rate increase, see if you can just use the breath and the tracking to help bring you back to balance. And try this like 3, 4, or 5 times on your own for a moment. And we'll just let a light sound to help drop you in. As we just practice learning how to track our breath when thoughts or emotions come up. And allow for the breath to help create that balance. And let go of the anxiety or the worries, or an event, or a person. Just bring it to the breath and bring yourself to the moment that you're in right now. And when we're in our moments, and the more we can stay within the moment and appreciate each moment, it's this that will really help us to find the gifts or answers that we may be seeking. I have found that I'm more able to see or just quickly have to see what's being offered to me and the messages that may come to me that may help with situations that I may have to deal with later. So instead of worrying about something in the future, because there's nothing we can really do about it until we're actually in that moment. And so sometimes when we're in a moment, instead of getting trapped in a room, it might offer us like another answer or another way to encounter a moment. And then if that occurs, just acknowledge it and remember it for when the moment does arise. And just track your breath again. And bring yourself into right now. Because each moment, even if it's someone who upsets us or a situation that may be aggravating, it's still a gift. It's all gifts. It's just how we choose to look at it. And if we can track and fall into the breath and allow ourselves to receive information, then we see the gift that's being offered. Because as we hear so many times, a lot of events or people and situations is really just a reflection of ourselves in the mirror. And it might be shadow work or something that we need to heal. And so by keeping us in the moment, we can have that awareness of what we need to work on. And then at the appropriate times, we can find the moments to actually do that work. So just continue to track your breath and just relax and just fall fully into your breath. Fall into your body. Create and discover balance within you. Balance with the yin and the yang. Balance with your energy. Feel the vibration within you balance out. Fall into this peace, this bliss. I'm just feeling good, smiling, relaxed. And just enjoy the moments. Breathe into it. Create such a beautiful energy around you that even those who may not serve us, they may even have difficulty entering your field. They may not be able to enter or come near you. So it could even be a shield to help protect us. So just go into this glow, this vibration of the moment with your breath, this vibration of balance within your system. Vibration of love. Vibration of acceptance and caring for all humans that we interact with throughout today. Vibration of patience. The vibration of just beautiful words being spoken, words that serve us and others around us. Pause for a moment. Fall into your breath and track one breath before you speak. Stay true to the moment of your conversation, but allow for those pauses. We don't have to be in a rush to speak either. And find the right words and double check yourself on what you're about to say, because that changes our vibration. It's either going to rise it up higher or it's going to bring it down. So as I invite you to slowly kind of bring yourself back to the space that you are in, may you find this vibration that you're feeling right now of balance, energy, a glow coming from you, from every pore of your body. May this be with you today, and may you find it while tracking your breath when needed. And bring yourself back to this balance. And checking our authenticity with our actions and our words. As you slowly just bring yourself back to the space around you. And may you be open to receive whatever gifts that come your way today and with the upcoming week. And just practice tracking that breath. Bring yourself back to it. We can do it throughout our walking day. We can do it in the midst of conversation. We can do it while we're working, while we're dealing with children. Because we can always find a quick pause. So just be open to that as we move forward with this day. And let the gifts come. Because these are the real gifts. It's not the gifts that you open in a couple weeks if you celebrate that holiday. The gifts are really what's being offered from the universe. Those are the gifts. And when we're in the moment, we're more open to receive that. So have a lovely day with this. And just kind of bring yourself back into the space. And yeah, I'll give a moment just to wake up, and if anyone within the space here wants to speak up, I'll give a moment of silence just so we can kind of reintegrate.
So calm.
I knew I wore my slippers for a reason today.
For life.
I need house slippers to just leave here.
Yeah.
Well, just something I wanted to share. So I fell asleep like wicked early last night, like 9 o'clock or something. So of course I was wide awake at 1, and I really peacefully just laid there and did breath work for I was like drifting kind of in and out of sleep, but when I got up again it was 4. And I know I never really got back into sleep, but I was practicing my box breath because I really hadn't practiced that one at home. Like I would do the conscious connected breath because that was part of our homework. But so I was just practicing like the box breath last night, and it's like you said, because those are the times of the night that I would wake up and have the ruminating thoughts, the laundry list of things, and literally the laundry was on the list, of all the things that I had to do, or how behind I felt like I was, or where I was supposed to be, or what I forgot to send, or what I didn't say, what I should have said. Instead of sitting there and like replaying these things that are not serving me, I was just laying there practicing breathing. And I think that is serving me better than what I was doing.
And I think too, like what you just said is so important too, because like the breath and staying true to the moment is also a way to relax and rest the body and the mind, and particularly when we wake up in the middle of the night, like to really fall into this, because that's a real easy time to let the thoughts go.
To let the anxiety really,
And then because as we move through this next phase too, getting to the new year, and really all year long, but our rest is so valuable to us, and the breath can help us in that situation, like what you're talking about.
I mean, it's no secret why, torture, one of the torture devices was sleep deprivation. I mean, any new mom will tell you that. I mean, I didn't understand depression and anxiety, I have to admit. I truly didn't understand, especially anxiety, before I had children, because I was a well-rested human. I think that the sleep deprivation is really what kicked my nervous system totally out of whack, and then depression, you feel that isolation, and that you start to feel just really crazy when you don't get rest. And I mean, I'm embracing it. We are having a major affair, me and sleep. Ever since the kids got out of my bed about a year ago, I'm like making up for the last decade of of lost time. We are hot and heavy, me and sleep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. Huge. But yeah, thanks again, Matt. I'm just chugging this kombucha because I've been doing so much yoga and breath work the last couple of days.
Yeah.
I'm like so dehydrated, but yeah, thank you again. And yeah, tune in, guys, tomorrow. We're going to be here with Anna doing our midweek reset yoga class. All capacities, what am I trying to say? Not capacities, all skill levels.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Exactly.
And yeah, it started off as chair yoga, but it's developed into more of a kind of slow hatha flow. So that just is a fancy word for breathing and moving.
Yep.
And then on Saturday, you have another chance to move with us because Sarah is going to be doing a fun yoga class to the set of Ms. DJ Isis. She's an old school drum and bass and jungle DJ. So we're going to move our bodies to the live DJ. So that's going to be fun.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
that's this Saturday at high noon.
Okay.
Yep, so we're going to try doing the yoga at noon this time. On Saturday, maybe once a month, we'll do that. So yeah, so tune in, PCSAM.org, sign up for our newsletter to find out all the different fun offerings and services that we have coming up.
Beautiful.
All right, happy
Have a
holidays,
beautiful
Matt.
day.
All right,
Love you all. Bye.
Bye.